Good morning, how are you? Welcome to another Brush Up on EMS with Bob. I'm Bob, your host, and today we're going to be talking about how to beat that National Registry exam. We're going to give you some tools and tips and tricks to get through that exam. Caveat, you got to study. So today we're going to talk about an algorithm, a mnemonic to help you study, and then also some other resources for you to use getting ready for that National Registry exam. Like, comment, subscribe, tweet, and retweet all the Brush Up on EMS genre. We're also on the following platforms for this podcast: iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public. We're also on the following social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So stay up on the Brush Up on EMS stuff. Welcome back. I hope I haven't lost you so far. But today we're going to be talking about beating that National Registry exam. And I want to first start off with a little backstory on myself. Hey guys, my name is Bob, and I've been in EMS for the last 8 years. And I just want you to know, I'm not the most perfect at taking these National Registry exams. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I am an average Joe guy like the rest of you. I just love EMS so much. I have strived to get this information out to help everyone beat that National Registry exam and get through it, because it's a tough test. And you know what? I struggled myself, and if it hadn't been for some of the instructors that really put time and effort into me to help me get through my EMT and my paramedic, I wouldn't be where I am today helping you guys. All right, so how do we navigate this National Registry exam? Well, first off, we've got to come up with some tips, tricks, and solutions. Now, the biggest thing I've got to tell you guys is the tips, tricks, and solutions. If you really want an in-depth setup on that, go find the video on YouTube, which is on the website Brush Up on EMS with Bob on YouTube, and you can find Beat the National Registry Exam. And that video is about a 20-25 minute video, and it will go through all the different tips and tricks and things to expect walking into that National Registry exam. One of the biggest failures for most students getting out of their EMT class or paramedic class and failing that first time is not understanding what they're walking into or not being ready. So I want to give you guys that opportunity to go watch that video. It will help you so much. In the last few months, I've created this mnemonic called LABOR, and the LABOR stands for some very important ways we can attack a National Registry exam. So L in LABOR stands for last sentence first. A stands for answer the answers. B stands for break down the question, O stands for omit the unfit, and R stands for re-answer the question. So LABOR is just a basic mnemonic to help us remember what we need to be doing when we hit those National Registry questions. And I'm going to go into more in depth on how we use LABOR with this algorithm I've created. So stay tuned. So there you are, you're standing in the middle of the National Registry exam site, and you're about to take your National Registry exam, and you're freaking out. You're like, oh my gosh, I have studied to this point, I have so much weighing on this, I put so much money, time, blood, sweat, and tears into this exam, and I'm about ready to lose it, and I don't know what to do. Just relax. You've got this. Number one, you spent all of last night not doing anything because you were relaxing. You weren't trying to cram right before the exam. That's number one that you need to make sure you're doing. Number two, you've got this acronym and you're ready to go with that LABOR, that last sentence first. Answer the answers, break down the question, omit the unfit, and then re-answer the question. and you've practiced and you've practiced and you've taken tests after tests and questions after questions and you've looked up the information, and guess what? You also have studied the information. You can't do this without studying the information, guys. You've got to read the book. You've got to study as much information as possible. But let's see if we can try to take some of that pressure off of you and try to ease your way into this National Registry exam, that you can walk out of there going, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did okay. You're still going to have some second thoughts, but let's try to ease you into this. So if you go over to the Brush Up on EMS blogspot, you will find this algorithm there. The picture will be uploaded here very shortly after this podcast goes live. But this algorithm, this flowchart that I've created, will help you in attacking those questions. I hear people talk about, well, you got to do this step and you got to do this step. And I personally created a video just walking people through and just yapping at them. But why not give them an algorithm, a visual diagram to also help with those visual learners and those kinesthetic learners? Guys, we're doing a cognitive exam, but make it hands-on. We're in adult learning. So you get to that question, you find it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to answer it. Well, do your labor. So we've got to assess the question just like we would assess a patient, and we got to treat this question like it is our only patient at this current moment, and we're going to figure out what is going on. So we're going to assess the question. Now, answer this to yourself. Is it a one-sentence question? Is it a paragraph question? A paragraph is anything more in this type of question format with the National Registry, anything more than one sentence. So is it one sentence or a paragraph? If it's one sentence, you're just going to read the whole sentence. If it's a paragraph, you're going to read the last sentence first. Read that last sentence first, and that's going to give you a lot of information in that last sentence without all that extraneous information in the paragraph that might distract you and get you off on a wild rabbit trail, and now you don't know what to answer. So read that last sentence first, then answer the answers. When you're going through the answers A, B, C, or D, because these are multiple choice questions, you need to be able to understand what is it talking about. So if you see a word like cyanotic, or you see a word like cholecystitis, you need to be able to break down those words. So what is cyanosis? Have a basic understanding that that's bluing of the skin due to lack of oxygen. However, if you see cholecystitis, you're going to go, well, that is inflammation of the gallbladder. Very good. So you get the inflammation of the gallbladder down, and so now you've got some words that you're understanding. Or if it's a type of question that's asking you, what should you do? And maybe you're going to have to figure out what is within your scope of practice. What have you already done for this patient? And so you got to go back and look through the question. So that's where we go from answering the answers to breaking down the question. So once we get to breaking down the question, we're going to get into a kind of a 5-part thing that we're going to be looking at. Do we need to be looking in this question? Is it question asking us to look for life threats or dealing with the life threats? Or is it a threat to airway, breathing, or circulation? If it is, make sure you take care of that immediately, because that's very important to get the airway, breathing, and circulation working again. If we don't get that working, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Simple as that. All right, then you might have to vomit your patient. Now, that doesn't mean turn your patient on their side and let them, we're not vomiting our patient that way. But what we're doing is we're using another acronym to make sure that we've done everything for them. Have we done vitals? Have we done oxygen? Have we put a monitor on them? Okay. Have we done an impression of what's going on, or an IV? Or maybe we need ALS. That's what I stands for, impression and IV. And IV can also trigger in your brain, hey, I might need ALS. And then finally T for transport. So have we done any vitals, oxygen monitor, IV, impression, interventions, and then transport? Finally, medical terminology. Is it a medical terminology kind of question? Is it patient assessment? Knowing where we are in that patient assessment flowchart. Guys, I know some things are changing in the world of EMS and how the practicals are done, but the National Registry still has the patient assessment out there, and as they still have that out there, they're still going to be following that patient assessment flowchart. So know that flowchart. And then the final thing is find the key points and factors. So as we're going through the question and you're looking at this question and you see that maybe all it says is the blood pressure, and then it says 2 liters of oxygen, and then it says, patient was monitored for 5 minutes and then another set of vitals was taken. Okay, and that, you gave them 2.5 milligrams in 3 cc's of albuterol. Okay, so, and now it's asking, what do you do next? That was your last sentence that you read first. And you say, what do you do next? Well, should I take another set of vitals? This is what I'd be doing in the back of the ambulance. But guys, what it's saying is you've actually already done all of those things. You've already taken vitals. You've already put oxygen on them. You're already monitoring them. And you've also done an intervention. So what's the last thing you need to do? You need to transport them. You need to get them going to the hospital. Maybe you don't understand the medical terminology word, but try to break it down so that you kind of have an understanding. Maybe you don't understand what cholecystitis is, but try to figure out what you do know and get that understanding. Maybe it's the patient assessment. If you haven't completed certain steps in the patient assessment, and it may not cover every single little bit, but it may say that you've made sure the scene is safe, and then you've also assessed the airway and breathing and circulation. And then, so where would we be falling? We'd be in the secondary assessment. And have we got the history? Have we done vitals? Where are we falling? So after we break down this question, we then go to omitting the unfit. So there's 4 answers down there. We've got to find 2 of those answers that are crazy. And so by understanding and breaking down the question, understanding what those answers are, we can start plugging them back into the question and saying, you know what? This doesn't fit. This does not fit this question. Even re-input that answer into the question and see if it fits, even makes sense. Think logically, guys. You can do it. So omit the unfit. So we're going to remove 2 answers. Now we're left with our final 2 answers. And now all we've got to do is we just got to answer the question. We've got to re-answer the question. So read that last sentence again. Read the whole question. Get all that information and say, okay, I'm going to go with this answer. And if your gut is telling you to go with that answer, then go with it. Don't change your answer because you psych yourself out. Answer that question and move on. Just like we're going to take care of patients. We're going to screw up. We're not perfect. We're not superheroes. And even as, I'm doing this podcast and Avengers Endgame is coming out, guys. And, superheroes also have faults in their own. And we also have faults in ourselves. So we're going to screw up. You're going to screw up questions and get them wrong. But that's okay. Don't freak out about it. You'll do great. So that's the algorithm that you can work through. That's the mnemonic labor that you can use. Watch the video on Beat the National Registry Exam on YouTube with Brush Up on EMS with Bob. This algorithm was created by yours truly, along with the mnemonic. And guys, when it comes to studying, when it comes to getting ready for this National Registry exam, anything works, whether it's flashcards, good notes, study those hard subjects, studying that vocabulary, prioritizing your life, all of that helps. Anything helps getting ready for this National Registry exam. I'm having a little hard time getting that off this morning and saying National Registry exam. But guys, it's a difficult test. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But if we practice, we study, and we work hard, we will achieve our dreams and goals of whether we want to be an EMT, AEMT, paramedic. This will help you, I hope. And good luck out there. Stay safe. And go beat that National Registry exam.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.